We're going to have a conversation with some of the youth that are part of Marcus Anthony Hall Educational Institute. And so I want to thank my engineer, Pastor Hobbs. I want to thank Pastor Bruce and Sister Renee for helping me get this situated here. It's a great day. It's a beautiful day. And I'm going to turn to the side for a second to say hi to my folks that are here with me. We got a call? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So Sheldon, you want to give us your name, your full name, how old you are, what school you go to, and how many Mahi courses have you been a part of?
My name is Sheldon Henry, and I go to New Mission High School, and I've been part of 2 courses.
And how old are you?
15.
Okay, next.
My name is Jason. I go to Whitman High School, and I'm 15 years old, and I've been here for 2 courses.
My name's Jackson Nicholas. I'm 19 years old, and I go to Bridgewater State University. This is my 2nd course with Mahi.
Okay. And so, would you like to tell our audience what you all have been doing, or what you all have been learning, hopefully something?
So, for this past summer, we've been doing a lot of civic engagement and voters registration, and we've been out in the community just trying to get people to, make a change. We've been with the community trying to make a change, and, I feel like having the youth outside during the summer and just, trying to make a change is a good thing. Having people, not only having people do voters registration, but trying to help them understand what they're voting for and what the election is about and what's going on with all the stuff around us. And yeah.
Jason?
We've been walking around in Nubian Station to see if any people in need help for housing and a better life supply, because some people in the streets don't have it all together. So we go around helping them and seeing what they need.
We go around helping the homeless. We do civic engagement and try and just focus on the youth.
So, you gonna talk about the mock trial? I mean, the mock debate down in City Hall that you did, Jason? Jackson.
So, the mock trial that we did basically was whether you're against having your students should have their cell phones in school or shouldn't be allowed to have their cell phones in school. And during the mock trial, I was on the what side was I on?
The affirm.
Yeah, I was on the affirmative. Mm-hmm. And basically on the affirmative, I had to defend that students should be able to have their cell phones in school. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of the people who were in the stands also agreed with what I was saying, because, I feel like a lot of students should be able to have their phone. Yes, certain students might be distracted, but then again, certain schools have a 3-strike rule. So if you're off task on your cellular device more than 3 times, the teacher should be allowed to take your phone. But in a certain stance, with me personally, when I was in school, my 10th grade year of high school, we had to walk to a gym because our school didn't have a gym. So on our way to the school, the gym teacher got hit by a car, and she was left there in the street, and the students had to go back to the school to grab an adult because all of our phones were in yonder pouches. So
No, I don't know. A yonder pouch. I think Mahjong was telling me about that. Is that something that you put your phone in?
yeah, so
green pouch, you put your phone in and you close it,
and you cannot open it.
you can't without a magnet.
Yeah,
So how do you open it?
you can't.
How do you So how you get your phone back then?
Until the end of the day, until they open it for you. And what also with that too, it's like when you're leaving the school, it causes a lot of like cluster. So you have to go one by one for them to open your pouch and then leave, open your pouch and then leave. It's like a whole situation. And not only that, you have situations where the school might be in like a lockdown or something happened in the school, and the students might want to, contact their parents or their family and let them know what's going on, and they can't. So that causes worry for the parents because they have no access to their children. And, that was one of the main reasons that I talked about. Students should have their phones in school. Not only that, but having their phone, well, certain people might be off task, but that's not everybody. Other people might be doing research, checking their grades, checking their emails, using the calendar, and things that would necessarily help them during the school day. Like me in my 12th grade year, I had an accommodation. I put in one headphone, I listen to music, it helps me concentrate. Certain people use music to concentrate during class. Certain people like listening to certain sounds like rain or whatever. But, not everybody's off task. So I feel like, not everybody's off task. That's just me, though. That's what I take from that.
So we went for a real hearing the other day, and they were having that same conversation. So, what do you think about the teacher from English High that said, since they don't have their phones, that their grades have went up and they're performing better? What do you think? How would you answer that question?
Honestly, that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. I'm not against not having your phone, but then again, I'm not against having your phone. You know what I'm saying? I'm for both sides, but I feel like it's not really within the school, it's within the student, because self-control is a real thing. So people are tempted to always look at their phone. Not everybody's tempted to look at their phone, but yeah, that's a good study.
I know my crew always looks at their phone. What do you think, Jason? Y'all are always on your phones. So what do you think when they talk about people could cheat with chat?
Cheat.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say cheat, but a lot of people might use ChatGPT to get like certain information that they didn't have, but it's the same thing as Google. If you search up a question in Google, it's going to give you an answer. So if you search up a question in ChatGPT, it's going to give you an answer. Mm-hmm. So it's not cheating unless you ask for the answer. If you ask a question, that's different. But if you ask for the answer, it's going to give you the answer.
But how do you know? No, I mean, nobody knows what you're doing.
Yeah, you can't really tell. That's why certain schools have a 3-strike rule. So if you're off task on your cellular device, they'll tell you one time. If they catch you again, they'll tell you a second time. The third time, you see, they're going to take your phone. That's why. And I feel like ChatGPT is not always a bad thing, because especially for students who don't speak English or students who are like coming from a different country trying to learn English in school, it's more difficult for them. So especially if they're using like ChatGPT for maybe translation, then it's not necessarily a bad thing. But then again, from an insider's perspective, it's going to look like a bad thing because, it's going to seem like they're trying to cheat. But in my perspective, it's not really,
Jason, what do you think? What do you think?
I feel as if like ChatGPT is not really meant for cheating. Like some people in school really don't know what's going on because like teachers don't always explain like the full like lesson that we have going on. So some people like at least like be like look up like at least like the beginning of the question to see like what we're doing, like what it's about in order to get it done. ChatGPT could be used in multiple different ways, but like some people be using it in like bad ways, but it's not used like that for all the time. I mainly use it like when I don't know what's going on. I ask my teacher, they don't tell me, so I just look it up really quick and it just helps me know what I'm doing and get back on track.
So are you saying that you ask your teacher a question and they don't answer it?
Yeah, sometimes my teacher would be like, they're not helping me and they just won't answer it, so I have to help myself.
Right, and if I'm being honest, I feel like today's time, some of the teachers use ChatGPT to make up their class like lesson plans.
It's possible, yeah. That's what everybody say when you're gonna do a business plan on this, use ChatGPT.
Right, that's how most of these companies are made up, and most of these logos, everything, and it's 2025. Majority of the stuff is AI. So it's like it's hard to tell if somebody's using ChatGPT or not. But
What do you think, Sheldon?
I don't think ChatGPT is a bad thing, cause like for example, my business teacher he taught us like to use it to like
right,
our advantage. Like we made up like we asked ChatGPT for like a logo for our brand, and it just created one. So I don't think it's a bad thing. You can use it to your advantage.
right.
But when you're in school but I'm just curious, Jason, what school you go to? You go to school,
High school.
Whitman High School, right? Are there a lot of black people out there? Are there any black teachers? How far? This is near Brockton, right?
Yeah.
That's interesting. That they won't help you. About how many black students are there out there?
At least like 15.
Wow, how big is the school?
At least like 5,000 people in the school.
There's
5,000
5,000 students in your
Students?
school?
Yeah.
What? I don't think that's right.
I do. I have a big school. It's all the way from
5,000 students and
Wait,
15
wait,
black
what-
people.
What grades they start?
They have a kindergarten there too. So it starts at
So it's elementary.
all the way through.
Oh, okay. That might make a little bit more sense. Yeah, that's a big school, 5,000 students. But if they start at
K1.
K1 and go up to the 12, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what else did we do this summer?
Well, we went to a farm
Oh,
not too long ago. You know, we learned about how, like, whatchamacallit,
They make milk and stuff.
like how the cows make milk, how they use it to produce, how they use the cows for food. And one thing that I did learn from the farm is that, so all the cows that are like per se, not bad, but like,
Fat, like super fat.
yeah, or like that have like behavioral issues maybe. I don't want to say behavioral issues.
How does a cow have behavior?
Like that gives them like a hard time.
Oh,
So that
yeah.
animal that gives them a hard time, or that can't reproduce, or that what's it called? That's not really well. They send them off to the butcher and just make food with the cow. That's pretty bad. But
But they do other things with cows too. They make
the cheese, the milk. Oh,
clothing.
one thing that I did learn too is that when a cow produces milk, it's like 100 degrees hot, right?
Yeah, 100 degrees hot. That's something I learned too.
And then they put it in a cooler.
Yeah, they put it in the cooler, and then
And it's not
They
pasteurized.
put it in that big what's that thing called? That big bucket.
that silver thing.
Yeah,
and then
I
they
don't
stir
know.
it.
It's like it has a bucket with like filters in it to like filter the milk something. She said it was like something like that.
Yeah.
So what did you all find while y'all out there?
I found a cow skull.
You still have it? Oh. So we walked around and we found a bunch of like cow remains, like big bones. We found a cow skull, cow teeth, and all that.
Okay. All right, hold on. We're gonna take a break. We'll be back in a minute. This is People Power with Priscilla. We are the people. We have the power. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back. People Power with Priscilla. In a few minutes, our mayor will be here, and we're gonna have a very good dialogue because this is the first time that I have actually had the mayor in person in the studio. I don't know if this is the first time she's been in the studio, but this is the first time that she's been in the studio with People Power. With Priscilla, I remember we did a phone interview with her when she was running for mayor. So it's good for her to be able to come inside and talk to her constituents. And so we know that September 9th is election day already. And we're in August, 14th? So, and the last day to register to vote in this election is August 30th. So if you want to be a part of this election cycle, you must register to vote by August 30th. Of course, there's early voting. I got my mail-in vote, but I don't like doing mail-in. I like early voting, or either I go the day of the election. So, all right. Oh, Jason didn't come back? Oh, okay. But oh, here he comes. So we were talking about the school stuff. We were talking about the what was going on with Jet Cheat. I think that was what we was talking about.
No, we ended up talking about the farm.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're right. Farm. Okay. So, what else? So who took the tooth to make the
Me.
Did you make one?
No,
Did
not
you do
yet.
it?
I'm building it.
You are?
Yeah, trying to find I'm trying to shave the tooth down so I could get it first because the way the tooth looks kind of but yeah, I think the cow had a cavity, so
You could paint it.
yeah.
Jason, what you doing with your cow head?
It's on the porch.
What's on the porch?
Yeah.
And what did you? Are you painting it or you?
I might for it to like clean out first, and I might take out all the teeth and make it into all into like necklaces.
That's a good idea. Sheldon, what did you get? You didn't take nothing. I think Onyx took home.
Onyx and OJ both took home a bone.
Yeah, I think Onyx's mother made him throw that bone away too.
Yeah. Or something. Onyx has mom and his away.
Yeah. That was fun. We might be going to another farm next week on the 20th. It hasn't been confirmed yet, but it'll be close. It won't be as far. We were going to go to pick some strawberries, but that season's over, so we may be going. We may be going to learn how to preserve.
Oh, yesterday when we was doing voters registration, where were we?
It was at that thing
United Church of All Nations.
Yeah, they had like this like little like shop. So they gave us like coupons for $25. They had like a lot of vegetables and fruits.
Oh, okay.
You know, that's when we came back to the office with a bunch of fruit and vegetables.
Oh yeah, that's what you was talking about. Okay.
Yeah, and I got me some. I got me a plum and some grapes and some big
Okay.
lemonade.
Yeah, I got 2 oranges, strawberries, and blueberries.
The strawberries are really good.
Really?
They were mad sweet.
They
I
were.
would like
Really?
them to come back.
Yeah.
You know who that was?
Yeah, that was
you have
busy.
his IG?
Yeah.
I might not
Who?
have his IG.
My friend was working there. Both of my friends were working at the stand. So
I need his Instagram or something. I need those strawberries again.
those strawberries were good.
Wow, were they were sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know why. They're probably like the best strawberries I had in like a year and a half now.
Huh?
The best strawberries I had like in a year and a half.
Oh.
That's strawberries.
Okay.
Mad sweet.
So, what did you all think about the what was it we did Monday? The press conference.
With the outside,
Oh,
yeah,
The press conference.
I felt like it was different for me, and I actually liked it a lot because of I got to see like how everybody else is like stepping out behind the community, seeing how we all like filled up White Stadium. It's something different for me. Like I never been to one of those. I would do it again because like it's like new to me.
Right, and the press conference really showed us like who's really for the community and who's not for the community, because the people who were for the community came out to the community and were standing with us. So yeah, and what I also realized, there wasn't that many elected officials there. There was one, and then you had a couple of candidates there. We had Wawa, we had Domingos, and
Sharon.
yeah, and Sharon, which was really good. It was my first time doing some. Well, it wasn't my first time doing something like that, but it was my first time being televised while doing something like that. So
my first time being on the news.
right, but it makes me feel good to know that, like, you know, I'm trying to do something for my community. So
Yeah. I tell people I wish I had had a program like this when I was you all's age.
right,
I probably things would have been different, but who knows, right?
only
But-
time will tell.
Well. So we are actually waiting for our mayor. If anybody wants to call in, 617-282-0685, 617.
You forgot the number, Miss.
I did 282-7794 and 617-265-2679. I literally forgot the number yesterday when Jessica called me and asked me what was the call, and I could not remember. I just drew a blank. I had to literally look on my phone. I'm like, what's wrong with me? But I mean, I say this number every week. I've been saying it for a long 10 years. But sometimes you just, you know. So what other things would you all like to do? We don't have a lot of time, you know. Next week's our last week.
I think, you know, really with the farm, you know, the first thing we did when we went, we seen the cows, but I feel like I want to go to like an actual farm where like they teach us how to plant. You know, we get to ride the horses. You know, we get to feed the animals and stuff like that. Because I feel like it's in this like era, it's really good to understand what you're putting in your body. Because I don't know her name. What was the lady we were with yesterday? At the tent doing voters registration.
Cheryl Crawford? Yeah.
She told us that she started planting about 5 years ago. She plants like tomatoes, cucumbers, all that. She makes her own food. And, you know, she told us it was therapeutic. So I definitely want to learn how to like plant and start cooking for myself and know what I'm putting in my body, because like nowadays we're at like a young age where like kids are dying faster because of what they're eating. They're just eating junk food. But that's what they put in our community, because that's how they think of us. And, you know, not too many people can afford like the proper food to put in their body to like live longer. So I really want to learn how to, you know, farm. Well, not farm, but like plant stuff.
Well, I think if we go to this farm, which is I don't want to say it because I don't know where we're going, so it hasn't been confirmed. But they do plant. It's a big farm. I mean, it's not a huge farm, but it's a farm that's in our community. And if we go, they're gonna teach us how to like preserve strawberries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And grow some things, you know. So hopefully we'll get to go. I just don't know. It hasn't been confirmed yet. So
You know, when I was younger, I didn't really like farms, because, you know, when I was in K2, I went on a field trip, and they took us to a farm, and there was a llama. His name was Jack, and then, you know, there was a couple of sheep. They let us in the pen with the sheep, and, you know, it was a bunch of, you know, brown and white sheep, and, you know, I was feeding them. But then there was like, this is so serious. There was a black sheep, and I tried to feed the black sheep, and then he bit my hand, and he started chasing me. You know, I was like, what, 6 or 7 years old, and, you know, I started running around crying, and then, you know, I just never liked farms like since then. But, you know, I'm much older now, so I definitely want to learn about it.
yeah, I know the food that we eat is literally killing us because it's just not well. I mean, you know, they spray all kinds of preserves you know, over the.
And then you got to think about it too, when like some of the stuff that's in the stores, like the apples and the fruits and stuff, they like put wax on it. So like when you buy them, you got to like wash them and stuff before you eat it. And I don't think not too many people do that before they eat their fruits.
Yeah, you can sometimes see the film and stuff on it.
Right, you can see it when it's extra shiny. Like,
I remember when I first said she said apples
I used to scrape them, and I used to see all this white stuff just come off of it. Like I used to wash it consistently until I saw all that white stuff off of it.
Yeah. And another thing that's going on in our communities too is that we're what's called the food desert, because you know they closed the Trader Joe's, not the Trader Joe's, the Daily Tables. I know I get confused. The Daily Tables, and they also our Walgreens are closing. I just found out that the one on American Legion Highway will be closing September 8th. So it's just like, where are our people going to go get their medicine? You know.
Right.
It just.
Wait, you said all Walgreens or just like?
Well, no. Well, we've already lost two.
Yeah, most of the Walgreens are starting to go.
Yeah.
What about the one in Mattapan?
It's different.
I don't know.
Wait, is that No, that's CVS.
Yeah, that's CVS. Yeah, the Walgreens, the one on American Legion Highway. So the first one they closed was Roxbury. Second one was Warren Street, and this one, and there may be others. They say that they're closing more, but it just seems like it's affecting our community.
Yeah,
more,
that's really bad, because most people, like, those are the only two places like pharmacies send their stuff to, is Walgreens and CVS. So if they're shutting down certain Walgreens, people are gonna have to go over to CVS, and then like we gotta wait in the line to pick up your prescriptions. Is gonna be a big thing where it's just gonna become bad.
That's even worse, because like the elderly need their medicine, like little kids need their medicine that have like diseases or all types of stuff. That's gonna be worse on them, because like what if they run out of medicine? They really need their medicine. I don't think their parents gonna want to run out of
Well, hello, Michelle. How are you? Thank you for coming. Yes. Yes.
Oh, great. That sounds good.
How are you?
I'm great. How's
Welcome.
everyone?
Good.
These are some of my brave students that wanted to sit in on.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jessica. You all gonna stand there? Y'all gonna stand there?
You want us to move?
Yeah, y'all. Oh, yeah. I don't want y'all standing there.
I don't mind standing.
Oh, if y'all don't mind, okay. All right, okay. Okay, all right. So, Mayor, how are you?
I'm doing great.
I know you're a busy woman.
We have lots of full long days, but it's the best. There's a lot happening around the city right now. Summer is festivals, parties, community events, and trying to take care of the kids with all that.
Right. So you know that, we know that there's a lot going on. We know that this is election year for you and other folks. And so we have questions that, we want to ask you. And you must know what the first question. I hear a lot of static. Okay. The first question is, what is going on with White Stadium?
We are building. Oh, there's really loud.
It is loud. I know.
Is that good?
We're having technical difficulties.
Well, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I
And then,
hear you.
okay. What's going on with White Stadium? We are building, finally, after 40 years of overdue promises, broken commitments. We are building a newly renovated facility that's going to be an athletic hub for BPS students across the entire city, and delivering the resources for Franklin Park that it finally needs. We are getting half off the sticker price for a brand new professional stadium that is going to more than triple the hours available. It's going to be open for community 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. It is going to have strength and conditioning spaces, places for sports, banquets, and community events. And it is still going to be owned by the Boston Public Schools with priority for BPS students and community events. And we're getting a share of all of the economic benefit that can come with that too. So the city gets $400,000 per year in rent for less than 10% of the field time that the professional women's soccer team is going to use. That $400,000 actually goes up by 3% a year for cost of inflation. They are also paying $500,000 per year, going up 3% every year, to Franklin Park directly for the action plan, $1 per ticket, goes to a tree bank that's going to plant more than 500 trees, more than we've ever been able to invest in the park before. We're opening up over an acre of additional green space through this plan, and this came through 2 years of community meetings, public process. I'm really excited that we're finally going to get to show our young people what they deserve. Because, I mean, you remember what it was like before. The pipes turned off after in the fall because they were so old that then there was no bathrooms for student athletes, no drinking fountains. Everything was run down. You couldn't use the track for state competitions. The field was all messed up.
So why partner with a private industry when you could? So right now we hear that the price tag is $172 million.
That is not true.
That's not true.
Nope.
Okay, but even with $100 million, right? Because that I know that I've heard that. Why would you bring a private entity into a? Because you said Boston Public Schools own it, right?
That's right.
All right. What about all the traffic? They say they did the studies. I mean, we have a lot of issues with the traffic.
Yeah.
Blue Ave,
Yeah, these
Cummins
are
Highway.
good questions. And so what I would say is that, for BPS to have something like this takes resources and money. And first and foremost, I will always say I'm never going to apologize for investing $100 million in our kids. I just, that is what our young people deserve. That is what our communities deserve. That is what every neighborhood, and particularly the neighborhoods that have been underinvested in for decades, particularly the park that has been underinvested in for decades. We are doing a lot more, even outside White Stadium. This is the first time under our administration that there's a dedicated set of parks crews that focus on Franklin Park. It's 500 plus acres, the largest park by far in Boston, and before only the Common had a dedicated crew and this and that. So anyway, sorry, let me get back to your question, which was why partner with a private partner and what about traffic? So the private partner means that we will be able to fix the one problem that has been a challenge and harmed communities for a long time, in that we can build something with city dollars, but then we often don't have the dollars to keep it maintained. White Stadium was built in 1949. It basically hadn't been fixed up since, which is why people older than me remember running track or playing a game and how run down it was even back then. That's why over 4 decades, every mayor had promised something and tried to do something just for the stadium and then fell apart because it's expensive to build that. In terms of traffic, Franklin Park already has huge events every single year. BAMS Fest, the Kite Festival, Puerto Rican Festival, all of these events already have tens of thousands of people coming to the park with no traffic plan. So this is actually going to help. We have a traffic and transportation plan that is going to manage the flow, make sure that parking for the zoo or just to use the park, every other part of the park, parking for residents, that is all protected for the first time so that no one will get squeezed out of using the park when these large-scale events happen. And they've already been happening. So we know that it can sustain it. We know that there's zero chance that any part of the park, one of the most historic in the country, gets paved over for more parking. So we've been very clear. And you don't have to take my word for it because, I've been around for a little bit in city government. I'm now going on 15 years in City Hall, getting my start under Mayor Menino. And I've seen promises made, promises broken again and again. And this idea that we found a partner, they're going to invest, and it's going to make it better for community. Communities heard that before, and then with Carter Playground, with other things, it didn't work out. And that's why we not only had the conversations over and over and over again, almost 1,000 comment letters, 60 plus meetings, a bunch of hearings, but then we put our money where our mouth is with a lease. So there is a legal document that is 300 plus pages that goes to every detail of who gets priority. The games can't start before a certain time of the day so that there can be a full track meet even on a soccer game day that finishes beforehand. The games can't end after a certain time so people can go to sleep. The games can't be more than two weekend games per 4-week period so that everyone is protected. It's all locked down in the legal language because we learned from what happened before. We had really high-powered pro bono volunteer attorneys from some of the biggest and best law firms in downtown Boston, helping the city negotiate this. So we are well protected. And even in the case, someone has said, well, what if the team goes bust? What if they decide they don't want to play at White Stadium anymore? Then what are we left with? We negotiated a financial protection where, by law, in this lease, if the team doesn't want to partner anymore, they have to either finish the stadium, just as outlined in the legal language, or they have to pay us $45 million to walk away, and then we would be able to finish the stadium for ourselves, and then we really would have it for BPS 100% of the time instead of 90+% of the time. So every which way, we've locked it in, and you can go on the website, you can see all of these legal documents. You don't have to just trust that it's something that
We
people
have a
spoke
call.
words on.
Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Can you hear me?
Yes, good morning.
Hi. I really don't have a question, but I can tell you that I'm a graduate of Boston Public Schools. My brothers and sisters are. And they play football at the stadium. Today, the way the stadium looks, no one can play football there. No one can do track because there's a zero-sum use of that stadium now because the tracks itself is not what they want. You have to have 8 lanes as opposed to 6. The track is full of divots. That stadium needed to be renovated. And if we can have a partnership with a great organization, with the Women's Soccer League, what is the problem? I don't understand. Why are we having difficulty understanding that?
Thank you so much. I agree. And that's actually a really important point of why we weren't able to use the stadium for track. So thank you for, sometimes we hear from people who actually oppose the stadium and have never been in it or live outside the city of Boston. Or sometimes we hear from people who might not have, been using it recently or had their kids or grandkids using it recently. And when you talk to the student athletes, you hear about how frustrating it is that they would go to an away game or an away meet and see what kids in the suburbs have. Our Boston kids deserve everything and anything that students in the suburbs have, and I'm always going to fight for that. And part of this was that the 6-lane track, which was what it had from being built in 1949, that is no longer regulation standards, so we weren't even able to host anything for decades. Back in the 90s, Boston hosted the World Cross Country Championships, and that was a huge moment for the city. We had some local superstars emerge from that and participated in that. We got to get to that again, and by the renovations will have an 8-lane track. We went over every detail of the design of the track, of the javelin, and throwing spaces with coaches, with students. So we got every detail according to what they would need to really maximize the space.
I want to ask a question. You mean to tell me that you could not build a stadium for Boston Public Schools for less than $100 million? You had to partner with a for-profit entity or a private entity to make. You couldn't build a stadium for Boston Public Schools only without the other stuff.
It depends what you mean, right? So I've seen some of what's been proposed, which, if we were to knock the whole thing down and then just put up some bleachers, sure, we could do that for under $100 million. It would still be more than what people expect because it is crazy expensive to do anything these days. We've rebuilt pools and libraries, and even just a pool was $40 million to do the outside pool, no buildings. Yeah, we could have done it we could have scaled the whole thing back. We could have had no study spaces, no weight rooms, no spaces for the athletics offices and the coaches to have their space, no community banquet hall. We could have done all of that for under $100 million. Is that what I believe I want my kids and my future kids and the next generations to have? No, we deserve the very best in Boston, and it costs more to do more. And this was an opportunity to get more than half off the sticker price for something that's going to be truly remarkable. We will have the best stadium in the entire state here in the city of Boston. That's what our kids deserve. And so, yeah, we could have done it for cheap, but it's not worth it to knock down a $10,000.
$40 million is not cheap.
But I'm saying that $40 million would have gotten us maybe some, the bleachers built back up and not much else in terms of the other spaces. It would not be a citywide hub for athletics. And I believe that we should aim for the very best for our young people. Plus, this, again, one of the most important parts of the partnership that, and this lease agreement that I think doesn't get mentioned that much, we talk a lot about the construction and the construction costs, but this is actually about all the years after it's built. Also, we will never have to worry for the whole term of the lease, at least the potential 30-year lease that's been signed, or 10 years plus 2 extensions, that this team is on the hook legally to maintain all of those spaces afterwards. The city is not going to have to worry about how to continue to scrap and save and try to figure out how to pay for fixing, the field if it got too much use. That is all on them to do. And if you want us to scale back from what we already had, that's what we would have gotten. But we already have a 10,000 seat stadium there. It just got damaged by a fire a couple decades ago, so half of it was unusable. It got run down because it wasn't maintained, but we already have a 10,000 seat stadium. Some people might like a broken, run-down 10,000 seat stadium because that means they have peace and quiet on their walks in the park. And I respect that. That is their preference. That is their perspective. But I do not believe, as the mayor of this city, representing all of our families, even the kids who don't have a vote, they deserve to have a stadium that they can play in that reflects their potential and their development. And that means building back up the 10,000 seat stadium that we already had to actually be able to function and to be the best in the state.
Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. Hi there. My name is.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead.
My name is Jacob Bohr. I'm a Roxbury resident, and I have a question for the mayor about the stadium. First, I just want to congratulate the city on the project. I think rebuilding the stadium, especially with the awning over it, so that it's actually usable during the summer as temperatures get warmer, with a grass field that it's not going to have microplastics going all over the place. It's really conscientious, and it's really a positive for the community. The question that I wanted to ask is about the benefits for the park. I'm on the board of Franklin Park Coalition, and we're really concerned about the impact of big projects in the park on the park, and we've been quite pleased to see a lot of the benefits that the stadium is going to bring, and I hope the mayor can just sort of speak on that to the broader audience. Thank you.
Yeah, first of all, shout out to the Franklin Park Coalition, just an incredible group of people who, while the city looked away and underinvested over so many decades, it was the Franklin Park Coalition who put in their own volunteer time, their own money out of their pocket to fix up things where they could fix it up and to steward and take care of the park when no one else was. And so, we're in a moment right now where there's some groups who claim that they speak for all park users, right? The Emerald Necklace hadn't been involved in Franklin Park for decades when they were established. They focused on Jamaica Pond. They focused on other parts of the city where the parks were. It was only in the last 2-3 years that they even started to plant any trees in Franklin Park because the city was turning our attention there. And so anyway, Franklin Park Coalition is an incredible organization, and I'm just so grateful for all the volunteer work that you all do and how much you've been involved in really holding us accountable on this project and saying, no, the first design didn't work. It was a boxy structure that would have blocked some of the views from the overlook where the Emma Lewis Playhouse will be, and we needed to respect the historic nature of this park. There were 4 years of process with community members. Just thousands of people participated in writing the Franklin Park Action Plan. It's a huge book that I keep one by my computer at home. I keep one in my office. I review it from time to time, and it goes through every detail of what we need, how to fix up the trees, because Franklin Park used to have not just beautiful trees and views, but also an underbrush that had flowering bushes and lower sort of vegetation. All of that was lost because so many invasive trees basically started growing and weren't removed, and then crowded out all of the sunlight. And that's, now I'm getting too nerdy about the plants and stuff like that, but the people in the Franklin Park Coalition and who participated in the action plan know every detail of how we have to basically nurse the park back to health, in terms of the trees, and also make sure that every community who wants to have access to host community events, that they can do so. That means having safe lighting in the right places. That means having pathways that don't flood. That means having proper drainage in different sites. We're also going to increase the number of tennis courts, because that's a huge need and use out there. The basketball court will get fixed up. All of the other uses are going to be connected through this. And this will be the first time that there's a dedicated, really significant funding source through this lease, $500,000 a year going up every year, plus the ticket portion going to Franklin Park directly to carry out the action plan that community members had laid out. So also, I will mention one other thing, which is that you don't have to just trust my word. You don't just have to trust that there's a lease. There's also a mechanism in place so that we can monitor things as they go. The legal language from the lease includes that there's basically I forget what the exact name is, like advisory committee or task force, where all of the different neighborhood associations, all the different stakeholders like the zoo, the Franklin Park Coalition, etc., have a seat to forever forward have the chance to have oversight over whether the commitments in the lease are being carried out and how the funds are actually being delivered and used for the benefit of the park. Sorry, I keep going on more and more tangents, but it's a lot of details that sometimes the facts don't get out there. One other reason why the cost went up from the first placeholder amounts in the capital budget to the budget estimates is because we heard loud and clear from the community. Not only do we not want a boxy structure, we want smaller buildings that are more beautiful and fit in with the park. And also, we want stuff to be done outside the stadium too. So the larger budget now includes pathways being redone, that lighting work, the drainage outside the stadium, because that was really important to the community, and that's what we heard in the dozens of meetings.
Thank you, caller. We do have another caller. Thank you for calling in.
Thanks very much.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi. Go ahead. You're on the
Hi.
air.
Yay. So, hi, Michelle Wu.
Good morning.
My name is Elena Carter, and I've been living in the city of Boston for the past 15 years. And so I've seen a lot of changes, and honestly, I will say that I do think you're doing a really good job. I mean, some of the changes I've seen in the last couple of years, I have I've been a big fan of. But one of the things I will say, Boston is known by the surrounding states as a city that really has a lot of great schools. So you can come here for education, you can come here for your career, great health care, all of those things, which are great. But it's not necessarily known as a fun city. And so I kind of want to know, what are you doing, or what are the plans to make Boston more exciting?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for your kind words and for being so involved in the community. Yeah, we've heard this for a really long time, that it goes back to way, back to the city's founding as a place where there was no dancing allowed. There was a lot of really strict rules based on the sort of religious background of the first settlers who made their way over here and kind of established the city and the rules and the culture here. We are really focused on making Boston a city that's home for everyone. And home doesn't mean only that you have an affordable and safe place to go to sleep at night. It doesn't only mean that you have a house or an apartment or a place to live. It also means that you have spaces that feel like home away from home, that are welcoming, that are exciting, that are fun. And that has to be true for every generation. So we've been, a lot of times when people say fun, they're talking about bars and nightlife, and we've been doing a ton there. Shout out to Corrine Reynolds, who is our director of nightlife economy, who's done things like pull together all of those businesses. We now have late night food trucks. We've had support go out to help ease the permitting and licensing so that people who want to open a business can do so. There's been grant dollars to go out through the Space Grants and Scale program, where businesses who reflect and represent our communities don't have to just feel like they're